Good evening, everyone. So, a lot of people have found success with Shenna, and a lot of people think that she's not very good. So, what is the situation? Well, I think to demonstrate this, I'll do a couple of reviews, and I'm going to use my sort of low spending alternative account here. Of course, as you can see on screen, the Shenna is not as fully built. It's the same with Ayaka. They are far from being optimally built, but they will demonstrate the point. And the point is, a lot of Shenhe's damage or effective damage is hidden or like invisible, and hopefully this will make it extra clear as to what she's doing. So please take note, these are only the numbers on this account, and we'll obviously look at my whale account as well. So you can see here Ayaka on her own, no charge like buffs or anything. She does about 3,200 per charge attack slice. You get 3 slices, so that's 9,600. And obviously, if we add Shenha's, you can see here now it's suddenly gone up to 8,300. Not bad. So a single charge attack went from 9k to about 24k. That is pretty strong. Of course, you've got to realize that Shenha's buff applies after your talent modifiers on Ayaka. So if you've got your Ayaka, if you've boosted her talents, then obviously Ayaka's charge attack is going to be greater, but it's not going to affect the buff that Shenhe gives. So in both cases, if you max out your Ayaka and you max out your Shenhe, then obviously the combo is going to hit very, very strong. And if you do it properly, then you will find that your Ayaka effectively has like a C6 sort of power on a 10-second cooldown with Shenhe, and that's pretty good. So how do we actually play Shenhe? Well, what you can see on screen is actually the proper way to play it. You cast the skills, you do your other things, and then you go into your main DPS. So you want to wait a bit, and then you want to cast your skills. So obviously if you've got a C1 Shenhe, again, I think that is the preferred constellation to have her at, then this works out really, really nicely because you can time her skills and Ayaka's skills very nicely. But if you've got a C0 Shenhe, then obviously you might want to go more for a bit of like a mono cryo team to get the most out of a damage effect. But with C1, you only need one extra cryo DPS, and I think Ayaka is the best in slot. Now let's change accounts and talk about a bit of a different aspect about Shenhe. And that is, should we just stack attack percentage, attack percentage, attack percentage like everyone on the internet is preaching? And we'll see. What you'll see on screen is me. I've got two. I've got an attack percentage sands and attack percentage goblet, and we want to see, well, what's the difference if we actually swap out the two, and is there any real benefit? Now, if you understand how the attack percentage work, it only scales off of Shenhe's base attack, not total attack. So there is a point of diminishing returns where you're actually going to lose out on Shenhe's own personal DPS. So that is a bit of a playstyle and a preference thing to keep in mind. So let's see what a C6 R5 Ayaka does. About 20k per slice on a charge attack. So you could, if it's everything's crit, like get 60k. And let's see what she's going to do now. Oops, bad for demo. Come on, Ayaka. I'm just kidding. And there we go. Oops. Again, very embarrassing. There we go, 51k. That's actually what we wanted to see. Obviously, the delay is obviously for Shenhe's weapon. You can see here to sort of ramp up. And now we got 3,900 attack. And of course, there's Shenhe's C4 or IC or Skyfrost Mantra kicking in. So let us just see what happens if we swap out the attack percentage to like a cryo damage goblet. And then hopefully we can then see what the differences are. So Masanori fight reset, everything is back up to where it should be. We're just waiting for damage to ramp up on Shenhe, and let's just see what the effect is of swapping two artifacts. And okay, so from 51k to about 49k. So effectively I've given my Shenhe extra cryo damage bonus, and the only price that I had to pay was about like 2k damage with Ayaka, which isn't really not too bad given the fact that Shenhe herself, especially a Skyfrost Mantra, if you like maximize it, can hit for over 80k from her base sort of numbers. As you see, you can see 56k. The additional damage that I get from my E is way more than the additional damage that Ayaka would do. Now, of course, I understand that Shenhe's Q ability does play a role in this. So if you use Shenhe's Q, you do get the resistance drop and the cryo damage bonus, and obviously having a C6 Shenhe in this case means that extra crit damage bonus. But in my sort of personal playtest, I did find that If you've got a C6 Shenhe, then cryo damage is obviously the way. And the reason is because her signature weapon effectively gives you that additional attack percentage. It gives you the effective like goblet or like attack sands that you need. So you can instead use those or that your goblet for cryo damage instead of attack percentage. And that's really what's so cool about her signature weapon. So with all that done and said, I hope you will enjoy some of the background footage that I've got here playing. Don't pay too much attention to it, it's just there while we talk. So let's talk about Shenhe generally. Should you pull for this character? And I think, in my personal opinion, if you're going to pull for her, try to make sure that you've got enough Primogems saved up, or enough wishes saved up for at least C1. And if you in the future want to C6 a character, so you've decided, well, you're going to do a smart thing, and at least as a free-to-play, of course, you're going to save up for characters, then I would highly recommend trying to get Shenhe at least as your first C6 character. The reason being is that she's very future-proof, and even if MiHoYo comes out and specifically designs a cryo DPS character that does not work with Shenhe, they specifically designed some sort of character that will not work at all, then think about it. It's only going to be that one character that does not work with her. Shenhe works remarkably with the majority of like the cryo DPS. I think the one that she works the least well with is actually Ganyu, because of the way in which Ganyu's mechanics work and all of that. But Shenhe is absolutely an insane, like an absolutely cracked character if you've got her at her full constellations. But then again, that's just going to be my opinion, and I understand, of course, I've got the luxury of having a C6 Shenhe, which means if you see the gameplay footage in the background and you see her at her max potential and you feel like, yeah, you know what, I've seen what there is to see and I'm not going to go for it, then I'm very happy, because at least I've done my job in showing you the potential of a character and giving you at least a bit of like better insight into making your decision. For me, Shenhe is amazing because of the fact that she works with my two favorite characters, and that is Kokomi and Ayaka in that order. Those are my absolutely two favorite characters, and the fact that I've got Shenhe synergizing with them, A, it was deliberately planned on my end, and B, I'm just so happy because it's so nice, it's so comfy. And I actually wish we had Shenhe for this Energy Amplifier event as well. I think we would have really had a ton of fun. We did have a ton of fun, of course, with Kokomi just absolutely carrying the team, which is really great to see. So, in my opinion, Shenhe is going to be a very misunderstood unit. She's going to obviously have mixed feelings, which amongst the player base, and that's because some people have stronger accounts than other people. And I don't mean F2P versus well, I mean in terms of the fact that some people have been playing since day one, so obviously their artifacts and characters are way more cracked. And obviously some people have only started playing recently, in which case Shenhe might not be the most valuable character for them to pick up. But nonetheless, I think the fact that we do have these sorts of mixed opinions on Shenhe is a very good sign that the character is in fact properly balanced. That is always healthy to see. Is she going to be meta defining? Is she going to dethrone Bennett and Kazuha? Probably not likely, but the fact that she does such an insane effective damage contribution makes me incredibly happy. If I just don't miss my ult like I did on screen, and that was actually quite funny when I recorded it. So let's just go to Kokomi and Kerry. But I do think that I really like the character a lot. Shenhe is so cool. Of course, I'm not here to sell you Shenhe, I'm just here to sort of give you my perspective. Is there anything else? I think we did cover a lot of the things like her exponential ramping, her damage distribution. There's not really much more to cover, other than to say this character, if you play her properly at her max skill ceiling, is very rewarding, and that's because of the fact that she allows you to front load, back load, to play with the damage equation in a much more like interesting way, and that's what I find is so novel about this character. No other character does this, and I think that's why she is so really awesome. Just like Kokomi. So yeah, get your Kokomi in the next rerun. Cheers, guys.